In today's presentation, I will discuss some of the costs associated with attending post-secondary and then present a variety of options you can look at when paying for school. I start with this disclaimer. I am not a financial planner. The presentation I'm going to give today is for informational purposes only. I recognize that everyone has different financial needs, and you and your family must determine what is best for your circumstances and educational goals. First, let's talk about the cost of attending post-secondary. The costs can be broken down into 4 major categories. First, you need to look at your living situation. For example, will you be living at home, on campus, or in your own place, either alone or with roommates? Second, you need to calculate the actual cost of your education, including tuition, fees, and textbooks. Third, think about your day-to-day costs, such as food, transportation, and clothes. Finally, you will make a variety of lifestyle choices while at school, including attending events, going out for meals, shopping, etc. You need to consider this budget as well. There are some questions you should ask yourself when considering the cost of school. First, where will you live? If you choose to live at home, then you will need to add in commuting costs. If you live in your own place, you will need to consider the expense and difficulty of finding apartments in Vancouver. And if you live on campus, you will need to consider the costs and availability of campus housing. Next, will you commute? If you choose to commute by car, you will need to add in the cost of a vehicle, insurance, gas, and maintenance. Alternatively, you can take public transportation. Corpus Christi students have access to the UPass system through the SMC Success program. This can be a great way to save money. Third, will you work part-time? If you work off campus, you will need to add these commuting costs. There are a few job opportunities for students on campus as well. You can meet with our work-study office to discuss these job options or check the website. Fourth, are you willing to go into debt to finance your education? If so, would you apply for student loans, take out a line of credit through your bank, or borrow from family? Also, would these loans cover part or all of your education? Finally, if you decide to use loans, you need to consider whether you will be able to repay these loans after you finish your education. Note that 6 months after leaving school, interest will begin on your government student loans, and you will be required to start your monthly payments on these loans. Before you make these decisions, it is helpful to sit down and start doing the math. The Government of BC provides a useful online calculator for students to help determine the current costs of living. The Corpus Christi website also has an outline of the types of costs students will have and lists the tuition and fees for the year. Finally, as a financial aid advisor, I'm happy to sit down with you and work through these costs, as well as methods of payments for paying for school. Please email to book an appointment or book online through the Corpus Christi advising page. Once you've reviewed the cost of school, you now need to consider how you will pay these costs. I'm going to give a brief overview of the most common ways to pay for school. First, we will look at RESPs, or Registered Education Savings Plans. You need to check if your family has invested in an RESP and how much of your education this plan would cover. Next, your bank or financial institution will probably require some kind of confirmation of enrollment. Please contact the Office of the Registrar if you have any questions about these documents. It is also important to look at your savings. This is money in your bank as well as any investments you might have made. Make sure you account for this money in your financial planning. Next, we can talk about family. Depending on your family, some members of your family might give or lend you money to help pay for your school costs. This can be helpful even for small things like textbooks. Are you working this summer? Will you continue working during the school year? Make sure to account for any part-time work in your calculations for your financial situation. Next, let's talk about scholarships, bursaries, and grants. First, here are a few definitions. A scholarship is an award based on merit, whether academic, athletic, or a specific field of study, for example, arts. Some scholarships can also be based on ethnic background, religious affiliation, and special interest. Bursaries are awarded based on financial need. And grants are monies gifted from an organization, for example, Canada Student Loan. Corpus Christi College has a variety of scholarship, bursary, and grant options for both new and returning students. Also, check other school and religious or civic organizations for a variety of options. Finally, the Corpus Christi webpage has links to external scholarships, including Scholarships Canada and a variety of special interest scholarships. You can contact me if you have any questions about applying for any of these specific scholarships. Finally, let's talk about student loans. Loans are available to both part-time and full-time students. Loans are based on financial need and take into account you and your family's situation. You can apply for loans online through the Student Aid BC website. Government student loans are interest-free while you're in school. However, you will need to confirm your enrollment every year to keep this interest-free status. As a financial aid advisor, I can assist you with all of the steps of the loan application, including answering initial application questions, talking about your notification of assessment, looking at a variety of bursary and work-study options, and then entrance counseling, exit interviews, and repayment workshops. At this point, I will wrap up my presentation. If you have any further questions, please feel free to email me or set up an appointment. Thank you for listening, and all the best for this upcoming academic year.